If you were alive during the 2000s and had access to television, then you probably remember the powerhouse black actress and comedian Monique. She's given us iconic portrayals, such as Mary Lee Johnson in the award-winning movie Precious, as well as tons of laughs on Def Comedy Jam and Showtime at the Apollo. But you never see her on anything anymore, leading people to assume that she's been blacklisted. Monique herself has said she has been blacklisted by the industry too. Well, now, Monique's longtime friend, Martin Lawrence, has come to her defense. And you won't believe who the outspoken actor blames for Monique's career flop: the queen of daytime talk show TV herself, Oprah. Why are these three talented black actors beefing? And how exactly did Oprah supposedly kill Monique's career? If Martin is right about his accusations, it could even lead to Oprah getting canceled. Lately, Oprah has been making headlines, but not for anything good. Reports have been coming in that she's blackballed numerous actors and celebrities for going against the TV royalty. Allegedly, one of these actresses is Monique, and she recently said in an interview that she's waiting on a public apology from Winfrey because of it. She's also been pretty vocal about the fact that TV and big screen funny man Martin Lawrence is one of the few people in the industry that remained in her corner throughout it all. Fans say that's understandable because Lawrence has received his share of scrutiny and sabotage from the industry himself. Did Oprah really blackball Monique? And is the most recognized black TV personality facing cancellation? There are several black comedians like Martin just described in the clip above, and among them are Monique and himself. But Oprah is also a classic black actress. Monique and Oprah have had bad blood between them for more than 10 years now, and during a recent interview with a Hollywood Reporter, Monique has stated that she still expects an apology from Oprah. The whole time that Monique has been blackballed, insiders close to Lawrence say that he's been fighting for her and trying to get her career on track, and that he's on her side because he knows that Oprah isn't the shining beacon of morality she portrays herself to be. So what did Oprah do that started the feud between her and Monique? According to Monique, she pretty much ruined her life just because she had the audacity to say no to Oprah. A lot of stuff started happening when Monique started getting the spotlight from Precious and her award nominations. Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels all wanted to exploit her as much as possible. They strongly suggested she do a press tour without paying her for it. That was shady enough. Now, Monique had been doing a podcast with BET, and once she was done working on Precious, she told Oprah she wanted to kick back, relax, and spend time with her family. That caused Lee Daniels to give her a dramatic warning about saying no to Oprah. He said, "It's not going to play out well for you." And all of a sudden, you started seeing stories being printed all over the place about how nobody can work with Monique because she's so difficult to work with. Even with her Oscar win, she wasn't getting hired for roles. It wasn't hard to figure out that she'd been blackballed by Oprah. Monique has been pretty open and honest about the fact that she experienced a lot of abuse at home when she was a child. In fact, she said she drew on those experiences to help her with her portrayal of Mary in Precious. She openly admitted that her brother had sexually abused her as a kid when she was only 7 and he was 13 years old. The abuse went on for several years too, according to him. When she started getting famous, her brother, Gerald Imes, reached out to Oprah for an interview, and of course, Oprah called Monique up and asked her if she wanted to be a part of the show too. Oprah told her that Monique's brother had called her and let her know how parents can watch out for predators. She then said, "Do you want to come on the show? Because he wants to apologize to you." I said, "Oprah, I don't want no part of that." Now, to be clear, Monique knew this interview with her brother, who had also served a 15-year sentence for another sex crime, was going to take place one way or another. She just didn't want to take part in it. What surprised and upset Miss Monique was when she saw her mother, father, and another brother all in the show. Her other brother, Stephen Imes, even had the nerve to try to downplay the abuse that Monique endured, saying, "It really isn't what it looks like. It's blown out of proportion." And you might be wondering how Oprah could know that inviting the whole crew on the show would have upset Monique. But the thing is that Monique told her beforehand. She says that she had a lengthy conversation with Oprah before the episode was recorded, and told her that she and her mother weren't on speaking terms and her dad was an alcoholic. She told Oprah that her parents had played down and dismissed her assault, so it upset Monique to see them all on TV. Then I see the show and I can tell that my mother is trying to make a dollar. I know my family. I reached out to everybody I could to try to get to Oprah. No, nothing. It just went dead. Then Monique and Oprah were fortuitously invited to the same party in honor of Lupita Nyong'o in 2014. Lupita had just been nominated for an Oscar for her work in 12 Years a Slave, and Monique said, "They invited you if you were a black woman who had won or been nominated for an Oscar. We all had to tell Lupita what our experience was and share in an upliftment get-together." So when Monique saw Oprah seated on a sofa, she slid right up next to her. I said, "You know we're gonna have a talk, right?" She said, "Mm-hmm," and I just patted her on the knee and got up. That sounds like a pretty classy boss bitch move if you ask us, but it gets even better. Everybody at the party was asked to address Lupita, and Monique used the spotlight to confront Oprah, since Oprah had been dodging her. I said, "Lupita, run your race the way you want to run it, baby, because when you get to the end of it, you should have no regrets." Oprah Winfrey was sitting on my right, and then I turned to her and said, "Now I need to talk to you." There were some phenomenal black women there. You could have heard a pin drop. I said, "Since you didn't want to return my calls for whatever reason, I'm going to say this right here." She proceeded to ask Winfrey why she'd ask her parents onto the show after she'd been vocal about the fact that she wasn't on good terms with them or speaking to them. According to Monique, Oprah said she'd only asked her brother to the show, but that he brought the other family members, unannounced and uninvited, with him on the day they taped the show. Monique isn't buying that excuse. Then she says that Oprah said, "I'm going to look into your mother and father being on the show, because I didn't know anything about that." And she said something like, "If I've done anything to offend you, I apologize." Monique definitely didn't feel that apology was legit. And even after a decade since this all went down, Monique has said she wants a public apology from Winfrey. In the same interview, Monique disclosed that she had also been offered the role that Oprah eventually was hired for in 2013's The Butler. She was also offered a role as Richard Pryor's grandmother in an upcoming biographical film about the legendary comedian. She was even asked to be on the hit TV show Empire. But after her spat with Oprah, all of those offers went away. Monique says that producer Lee Daniels finally admitted to her that she'd been blackballed by Oprah. When she asked why, he said, "Because you didn't play the game." He didn't give her any more information whenever she pressed him for answers, though. But her buddy, Martin Lawrence, knows all about the Hollywood game and what it's like for industry bigwigs to try to take you down a peg or two. May 1996, Lawrence was arrested in LA for stumbling around in a busy intersection, holding a gun, and yelling, "They're trying to kill me." Of course, the tabloids had a field day with this, calling him crazy and speculating about him using drugs. But of course, he was examined by a doctor after he was arrested, and it was found that he wasn't on any drugs. Lawrence later said that just about everything the media had been saying about him during that time period was fake news. There were even bogus stories that he'd been diagnosed as bipolar. They made a lot of things up to sell a better story. You don't know what's that like until you've been through it. Sometime later, Martin's friend, Dave Chappelle, has publicly scrutinized the media for trying to make it look like Lawrence was crazy. He talked about Lawrence again in 2006 when he did an interview with Oprah, and Oprah basically gaslit him and tried to act like Dave was crazy. Did you catch how sneakily she asked him if he'd lost his mind? Dave said that the industry executives purposely stressed him and Martin out and tried to get them to break. And he said that if he had some sort of mental breakdown, that's all they needed to start calling him either crazy or difficult and then take over his entertainment career. Sources say that Martin thinks that Oprah was trying to employ similar tactics on Monique. And since he'd been through it himself, that's why he was so supportive of Monique and helping her any way he could. She said he gave her some great advice about how to stick up for herself and keep her independence when the industry wanted to control her. Honestly, that seems like great motivational advice for everyone. But with all these new allegations coming out against Oprah, it seems like fans are clamoring for her to get canceled. Oprah doesn't care about anyone except herself. I could care less about that woman and won't be bothered by her expiration date. She has backstabbed many people to get where she's at. I think she has as much evil as other narcissists she hangs out with. I hope I'm still around when it all crashes down for her. I'm certain it will at some point. Maybe when Epstein's records finally surface. I wish somebody would come along and unite us all to fight the real enemy that's hiding in plain sight. What do you think about all this? Is it possible that Martin Lawrence, Monique, and Dave Chappelle know something about Oprah that the rest of us just don't see? Do you think Oprah is going to get canceled? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.